So like when we were looking there, I talked about the fire keepers. So those who are the spirit of the river associate with, they are fire keepers. Kosherero wandu wakuru, murumendo wakuru waruha ukara namuka endungo omoyakife omuriro. So the fire keepers. Now, Melchizedek is a fire keeper. And Melchizedek is there also. This is page 416, the book of Melchizedek, of members of Melchizedek. And Melchizedek is there also. And is wearing and worn and concerned for all that his family has been through, has been hard for them. And he is kneeling down beside a large bent-off stump, facing the view into the valley to the east. And he is asking the Lord to forgive him for his doubts. And he wonders what a flood could mean. Could it rain so much that the creeks burst over the banks? How could that destroy the wicked in Helia, or bring rest to the Lord? Or Anak said, what could his father call forth that could justify building the ark? So he's in the process of his becoming, and his Melchizedek is Shem, the son of Noah. So Noah is building the ark, and he doesn't understand why his father is building the ark, but he's helping him, but he's not comprehending the reason. 62. And while I'm looking at this, it is in the daytime, but things begin to get brighter with the presence of the Lord. And Noah notice it, but Melchizedek prays on in fervent prayer. And while he is kneeling there, he cannot see around the side of the tree stump. And from that side, the Lord comes walking. So Christ is coming to him. The Messiah is coming. So the Lord comes walking around the corner. And he seemed to appear as one who is expected to be there. And Noah is standing on the other side of the stump. So there is a tree stump there. And Noah could see from one end, Melchizedek is on the other end. But both are. And the Lord reached out with his right hand and touched Noah on the forehead. So he blessed Noah there with his fingers, 2 fingers, and he said nothing. So he just blessed Noah and said anything. And the Lord then went around and reached down and touched Melchizedek, Shem, on the forehead also, with the same 2 fingers. And he looked up with a surprise. And again the Lord said nothing, but proceeded to walk away. So I'll skip there. Go to chapter 11, page 428, and it says, and it came to pass that after the Lord said this, Melchizedek was eager to look and to learn and to come to the aid of his father. And I held my breath because I was looking also with him. And before my eyes came a view of the edge of eternity. And I see this time a little stand of winter willows and along the bank of the river. And I think I hear the wind blowing through this little Ikudishi, the holy angels. I do, and it is singing a gentle and delicate song, and I'm trying to hear the song, and I am startled to hear what it is singing. What is the song? I'm startled to hear that it is the song of the dance, for our very own song of the dance. And it is sung so softly, and the sound of it is high, and the ring with much delight. And I know now that the wind and the winter willows taught cover the songs of dance. Okay. I think so you see, now here we have the wind, we have the willows, the malaka, I don't know what else you say, small plants or grass-like trees, plants. So they're there by the bank of the river, and they're singing praise, and Melchizedek is with Christ there, and they're looking at it. So this is the account of creation before what we know was created. This is in the heaven before the Father started to create things, create our spirits. So this is page 44. So I'm just, I word search the word bank, meaning the bank of the river. So I'm going page by page, just reading the different message concerning it. So that's why maybe I'm repeating some things. Page 44, still in the book of Remembrance of Melchizedek. 16, and I began to see the edge of eternity with new eyes, and the ground was shining with the light of the Father, and there was a bank like a bank of a river, and I knew somehow that on the other side was another eternity. So the 24 elders are with the Father, and they're at the edge of the existence or the land of nativity of our soul. That is what we call elder. So the if we have the earth here, then he has his elder there, the Holy of Holies. And at the edge of elder, that's where they are. So they are there now, they matured and they are being introduced into another world. That's why I say, and there was a bank like the bank of a river. So it's a boundary between that world and the beginning of another. And I knew somehow that on the other side was another eternity. And at the edge of eternity, I looked at the river, and the top of the water of it was smooth like crystal glass, and that shone and shimmered brightly with the light of the Father, Anuki said. And the light did not hurt my eyes. Remember, Christ said, if your faith is matured enough, you look into the sun with your eyes and they will not hurt. So the 24 elders are sinless, and they were pure before the Father, as pure as the children, the innocence of children. 17, and I looked, and it came to pass, it came to my mind by the Spirit, just what they were seeing and feeling, and they saw the process of becoming. So they were graduating like when as children were maybe, let's say, graduating from be weaned or from the milk, or be moving from be a child into reaching puberty. So that's the process of becoming when you move from one stage to another. So they were moving from that other eternity of the Father to now a process where another eternity, or crossing over into a process where now they will be developing to become, choose what they become. And they saw the process of becoming. For in elder, up until then, they had only been the conditions of being. So in elder is a condition of being. Condition of becoming is evolution. So now they were evolving, and they saw and discerned in themselves the cycle of life that had beginnings and endings. Remember, in elder or the Father, we say it's Alpha and Omega. There is no beginning and end. But now they saw more like conditions that were temporal, because they were beginnings and endings, and that which lay before them. So they be introduced to, should I say, Olam, or what will be known as Eden, or what will be known as our temporal world right now, the earth. And they saw and discerned in themselves the cycles of life that had beginnings and end, and that which lay before them, and they could feel the struggles and triumphs and the process of their life. And I was so accustomed to feeling the process of becoming. So now we are already in the process of becoming, because we are in a last stage. It's elder, it's Olam, it's Eden, and now we are here. But to them, it was totally new and very clear. So they were at the beginning of our journey. And at that point, 18, and becoming is absolutely driven by agency. So now they will be introduced to agency, the freedom to choose. As the living choose their way freely, either to listen to the Father or not. either to feel the light of the Father or not, either to act, to bond together in the love of the Father or not, either to be like the Father in following his example or not. In elder, agency was not known. That's what I'm saying. They were kids. So now they were bewaned. They were graduating. And in elder, agency was not known up until then. So that which came before the eyes and hearts of the holy angels in that very moment was the new beginning of agency in the inception of it. So I'll leave it here. Looking at this year, I think this is the puzzle that we are seeing when we are standing in the a river and standing in the water, and we are seeing the water banks. So you are at a stage in your process of becoming where agency is at play. As a living, you are to choose the way or your way of life, how you want to live, which way you want to go freely. And the choices that are before you are to be made based on whether to listen to the Father, which is the word, or say, feel, do, which is act, and be, which will be what you are based on the choices that you have made. So now the choices that are be thrust before you is whether either to listen to the Father, to the word, or you choose not to. Either you to feel the light of the Father or not. Either to act, to bond in love with the Father or not. And either to be like the Father in following his example or not. And in elder, agency was not known. But here, we are more like in elder. But in the opposite side, we are used to be in the world. And the world, we are talking about the reign of Satan, the fallen watchers, the fallen angels. Therefore, we are alien. We are foreigners to the spirit of life in creation. So, I think we are at the opposite end of the process of becoming, and we are being driven by agency to choose whether we'll go back into the light, whether we'll go back to listen to the Father or not, whether we'll go back to feel in the light of the Father or not. But they started in innocence. But now us, we are starting in darkness because we are in bondage. You are in bondage. But the Spirit is calling for you to make that choice. The Spirit is calling for you to transition so that you could be saved and redeemed. So will you listen to the Father? Will you feel the light of the Father? Will you act to bond together? Will your doings, your works make you bond together in love with the Father? Will your actions, or with your actions, do you think what you are, which either to be like the Father, do you think you are a living proof of the example of the Father in based on the actions that we have taken? So I think we are being called to choose to love Him or to love the world. So far, looking at the dreams that we have shared before, I think that's where you have been driven. The water flows freely. Will you choose to be the water droplets, merge until you are a stream of water? Will you trust the river banks to guide you? Will you trust the rocks to make you remember and understand the call of agency of the or or for you, they call for you to choose your way freely? Will you listen to them to make them choose in righteousness? Amen.